How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be doing a transmission fluid service on a 23 and newer Honda Accord hybrid. Now for the Civic and CR-V hybrids, it's going to be a similar procedure, although I'll have a separate video for those at some point. So this is the fluid you need here for the eCVT transmission. Now the part number is here. Additionally, you also need two washers. I'll have the part numbers for those also in the video somewhere. We are going to use this fill hole right in there. So you pull this out and use that. Although there is a fill hole / level check from the front of the transmission going this way. So which we will see at a later time in this video. So obviously make sure you use all safety precautions. I'm going to be using a lift here, but if you're using jack stands when checking your vehicle's trans fluid level, make sure that it's obviously level so you're getting a correct reading, whether you use jack stands or ramps or whatever you are using for that. The tank's about 2.6 quarts, so if you take out 2.5 and you put back the same amount, obviously it will be good as long as there's no previous leaks. Now it does take, once again, about 2.6, so 2.5 of these quarts. You could either like to dump all three in there and then take out the level check plug and let it drain out the excess, or just put exactly, once again, what you take out. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started by draining the fluid. All right, so here we are. Car is on the lift. Now you're going to drain the fluid using this one, and then our fill level / check is here. So once again, you can either fill it through here or through the top like we're going to do it, just to make it a little bit easier. This is, again, the Honda fluid required, just in case you weren't sure. Now, there's supposed to be a shield here, but what happens over time is these do end up ripping off. So we can see some of the half-turn screws right in here, and you turn them counterclockwise to release them. I believe there are 4 of those, and then there are 4 of these as well, which are just regular Phillips screws. So your car is supposed to have them. This one doesn't have it. We're going to recommend a new shield here, although you're supposed to just have the shield here. If you have it, you have to remove it, obviously. If you don't, then just you simply have access to this. Now, when putting these screws back, especially if you live in a rust-prone area, make sure you apply a little bit of grease to them just to keep them from seizing up in there over time. So let's go ahead and start draining the fluid here. I'm going to collect it just to take a look at it and kind of see what you can use for a measuring device. All right, so you're going to use your long ratchet. Now, if you're not torquing these, which some people may not have a torque wrench at home, you're going to want to loosen this with a long 3/8 ratchet, then tighten it with a shorter one. Do not over tighten these and strip your transmission case. And that would be a good idea also to break this one loose over here. So this is just a 3/8 drive. This one will be a 17mm hex drive socket. All right, so we're going to crack this one loose first. And this one gets torqued to 32 at the end. And the bottom one gets torqued to 36. So we're going to take this out. You may or may not have some fluid come out of this already. So we do see a trickle. Move that a little bit closer here. All right, crack this one loose as well. And I am using a measuring bucket from Home Depot. Crack that loose. And this is what our bucket looks like. You can pick one of these up anywhere. Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those stores. This is just a 5-liter bucket, 5-quart bucket. Catch all that fluid. And we're just going to measure it, see what it looks like also. The color looks pretty good. This car does have 30,000 miles, which you should be changing fluid when it looks like this, not when it's completely dark. New crush washer, and the drain bolt is this one here, so the black colored bolt. And then the silver bolt takes the bigger drain washer, so this one gets torqued to 32 and the smaller one to 36. So we see a small trail here, a small trickle, which is what you want. And we're going to take a look at our fluid here and we have just about 2.5 quarts, just over that, so which is what it calls for. So this car obviously has no leaks, so the proper amount was filled from factory. Now we're going to put our bottom bolt back in and start filling the transmission up. I will say that that top bolt should be in place, although I cracked it loose just in case it's rusted there over time or stripped or the edges around it or whatever. You need to obviously have a place to either fill it and or check it to make sure, unless if you're comfortable with just adding the 2.6 quarts, then that is fine as well. But if you have this bolt off from the front while you're doing it, it's possible that some fluid will come out and then your measurements will be wrong. So I'm going to torque this one down. I'm just going to set this one softly in there, just hand tight, add our fluid. We'll run it, and then we're going to come back here and check our level. All right, so here we are. This is just an easier way of doing it. That's one. On to our second one. Very easy to do on these vehicles. Some are more difficult than others. This happens to be one of the easier ones, which is nice. Anyone could really do this at home themselves. So this one we're going to put just over half here. Now you could put all three in and then just drain out the excess if you wanted through that level check hole, if you wanted to. But we're not trying to waste, and maybe this will come in handy down the road for a different vehicle. So a little bit more here. So right about just under 2.4 that we use total. So 0.6 missing out of this one, 0.65 or so. And now you are ready to check your level. Now Honda doesn't say anything about warming it up, only before doing this, just to make it easier to drain the fluid out, especially in the winter months. Now afterwards, there's no instructions to warm it up, although you could certainly do that. You could take it for around the block or so, spin the wheels in the air if you want to put in maintenance mode, whatever, if you choose to do so, and then check the level. Then we are going to remove our level check plug here. And where we go. So just a tad bit more than we needed. You want to let it trickle to like almost an IV or a very small stream there. As we can see, the fluid is much cleaner than what came out, although again, dirty fluid doesn't necessarily mean that it is bad, but good idea to change it, in my opinion, every 30,000 miles or so. All right, we're going to torque this one to 32. All right, and the drain plug to 36. All right, and we are good there. Went a hair over, that's fine. So now we are going to wipe everything off here, and at this point you would put your shield back on. We are going to put our plug back in, and we are ready to go. Right, so now we're going to remove our funnel here. Now I like to put this here because in the event you forget, when you close the hood, you're going to realize real quick that you haven't. So I do this with oil caps or anything of that nature that needs to go back. And here you may need the assistance of some needle nose pliers. Like I said, it makes it easier. So here we are. We will put our plug back in with needle nose pliers here, and we are good to go. Plug back exactly where it belongs. So at this point, you are ready to go. You have changed your fluid successfully on your 23 and newer Honda Accord. So the 11th generation Honda Accord with the eCVT hybrid power plant. Hopefully this video was helpful to someone out there. Hopefully this answers some of your questions. If you're curious about it, if you actually do this yourself, or take it to your local dealer or trusted mechanic to do it. So that being said, I'll catch everyone on the next one.